Hello, and good evening, everyone. Welcome to Paytm Money Talk. And today's topic is long term wealth creation through systematic investment plan. My name is Neeraj Gogoi, your host for the talk. And this talk is powered by Paytm Money. I'm really excited. This is a very interesting topic. In fact, if we talk about systematic investment plan, in fact, this particular method of investment has literally revolutionized the entire investment landscape in India. And in fact, still, although we have got a small percentage of our population, investing population, who invest through mutual fund, invest through SIP, yet we have to lots of things to learn how to maximize the return on that. So to talk about this particular strategy, systematic investment plan, we have got a very interesting speaker today. His name is Peshotan Dastoor. So before I introduce him, in fact, I would like to introduce him first, and then we'll play out the whole beginning. So he is a group president and head of sales at UTI AMC. He holds double post graduation qualifications, Masters of Commerce degree, and from University of Mumbai, and Master of Business Administration from JVS Institute of Management. He also holds Claritas Investment Certificate from CF Institute, USA. Mr. Dastoor joined UTI AMC in May 2021 and has over 27 years of valuable experience in the financial service sector across banking and mutual funds. Before joining UTI AMC, he spent 13 years at Franklin Templeton Asset Management India Limited, where he was the head of sales since April 2014. Prior to that, he spent 12 years in various positions across ING Bank, and ING Private Banking, and head of institutional sales at ING Investment Management India Limited. So that's a brief introduction, and I welcome Mr. Dastoor onto the stage.
Thank you very much, and a very good evening to all the participants on the call. It's my pleasure to be here, and once again, thank you for having me.
Thank you so much, sir. It's a great pleasure to have you here today. In fact, it's a very interesting topic. In fact, literally, I think each and everyone in the country today who invests in the stock market or mutual fund know about SIP. But I think, well, talking about SIP, yet so many things to learn. Still people are nervous, anxious at times. When the market becomes volatile, and at the same time keeps on making some kind of mistakes. So today, I think this conversation is going to help all these investors to clarify all the doubts they have in their mind, and in fact increase their conviction on this method. So, in fact, Mr. Dastoor, my first question is, mutual fund industry has, in fact, last 10, 20 years has put in tremendous amount of effort in educating people about mutual fund and SIP. It's a mind-blowing effort. So when you talk about investment, you have been in the forefront of this whole, education process. So how do you see the future? How do you think India, the mutual fund SIP, particularly this particular tool, is going to play a role in the coming years, Mr. Dastoor?
So, Neeraj, let me open by saying, and everyone has heard this line which says mutual fund sahi hai, but I'd like to add an adjoinder to that line which says mutual fund sahi hai, SIP behtareen. Okay.
Wow.
And, I don't think there is anything new about the concept of an SIP. It's just the terminology that changed, but everyone that we know has heard of the very traditional fixed deposit and a convenient way of participating in fixed deposits called recurring deposits, right?
Correct.
So you accumulated money through investing every month in what was called a recurring deposit, which was nothing but simply investing in a fixed deposit at the back end on a monthly basis. Now you flip that around and you are investing in a mutual fund. And in this category of SIPs, I think I would, be greatly delighted. I am greatly delighted that the industry has created this vehicle of SIP. And, when I talk to many investors, I ask them, do you invest in mutual funds? He will tell me, no, I don't. But मैं SIP करता हूँ, you know
Right.
which is saying that the child is far more popular than the parent, okay, then that's a delightful thing in itself. But coming to the core at it, what is an SIP? It is nothing but a monthly investment that you make. And if you ask me, and if you allow me, just to represent this through three slides, okay, I'd
Sure.
like to show what is the sense of investing or discipline, and really how does this play out for investors. Perfect. And if I can look, wealth creation journey is a very simple journey in reality. Okay. You invest a small amount of money, say 15,000 rupees a month, for a relatively long period of time, say 15 years. Allow the power of compounding over this period of time work for you for a reasonable return expectation of, say, 12%. And what you will end up with is a corpus of about 75 lakhs or 76 lakhs of rupees. Okay. Now, this does not require you to have any great knowledge of markets, any great timing the market, but just one element, or rather, I may say two elements, or if I may add a third one to it. The first element is the 15,000 rupees a month. The second element is the patience. Okay. That you continue to do this for long periods of time. And the third element is discipline, which allows you to stick to the plan and not waver in the journey. And if this is only about talking for a journey of 15 years, let me tell you what the true power can be. And when I meet grandparents today and they ask me, "Oh, I'm retired, what should be I be doing?" I ask them one simple question, do you have 130 crores? And almost every time the answer has been no. And I say, if you don't, then please blame your grandparents for it. Because had your grandparents started an SIP investment of 10,000 rupees a month and continued it till the time you became an adult and were earning, and you as an adult continued it till the age of 60, even a reasonable return of 12% would have meant a corpus of 130 crores. Okay. And now I flip it around to them to say, if you want your grandchildren to have 130 crores, and in the past many 40 plus years the markets have delivered a 15 plus return, okay, look at the corpus that changes when the return changes from 12 to 15. I think the 15% seems a huge challenge for the next 60 years in India, but a 12% return for a long period of time can seem like a very large possibility for investors. All you need is some small amounts of money, umpteen amounts of patience, and unwavering discipline to get to the outcome of this journey. And if that sounds theoretical to you, here is the final slide I'll present on the concept, which is reality of saying that if you had invested in the last 15 years, even in the Nifty 50, forget an active fund, 25,000 rupees a month, which is 3 lakhs a year, 45 lakhs over the last 15 years, the market's given a return of as much as almost 13%, you would be sitting with a corpus of 1.3 crores. Okay. And all you needed was 25,000 rupees, 15 years of time frame, and unwavering discipline to get there. That's how simple an SIP is meant to work for you, for sure. Back to you, Neeraj.
Oh yes, wonderful, wonderful. In fact, yes, we saw the power of compounding through SIP. In fact, if you talk about the inflow every month, we have got, I think, 13 plus thousand crores of inflow every month, and it's supporting our market in a great way. We have got around 6.28 crores of accounts, SIP accounts running, right? In a population of around 140 crore people. Do you think this number going to increase in the coming years? And how do you see this number actually? So, and how it is going to be impacting the market as a whole, the whole investment landscape in India?
So, let me put it this way. If I had to
Mm,
lay out or at least state my vision for the mutual fund industry, okay, I'd say it is the vehicle to elevate people out of financial dependence to financial independence. It is the
right.
vehicle to get you there. Okay. I think if you ask me, if there are, let's say, 45 crore bank accounts in India and only 6 crore SIP is running currently, then the writing is on the wall that every savings bank account should have an SIP linked to it. And that's the simplest way I can articulate a vision and potential for wealth creation in this country. The fact that it will feed into capital markets, the fact that it will feed into the capital of corporates, okay, that will benefit and be able to invest in whether it is infrastructure or consumer goods for the people of this country is secondary. I think for me, the biggest objective that I would carry is financial elevation towards independence. And if we can have even, 25 crore SIPs running, and if they are able to run for 15 years non-stop for a reasonable sum of money, can you imagine having another 15 crore households that are crorepati's? Okay.
Correct.
And
Mm.
that really changes the game for a nation, not just for the mutual fund industry.
Wonderful, wonderful. Okay, now, uh, is there any kind of strategy that we can follow? Of course, people keep on doing it. Many people probably not exactly just keep on doing what they have been doing without much applying their mind. Do you think, as an intelligent SIP investor, one can follow certain kind of strategies or things that he can do in order to maximize his return with the volatility of the market?
So I think, Neeraj, if I may put it this way,
Mhm.
um, what is an SIP? SIP is meant to be simplicity. Okay.
Right.
I earn every month. Before I start spending my money, I should first thing do is after paying my taxes, the first thing you do is you invest. Because I one of the least spoken of strategies of SIP is the power of stepping it up. Okay, if my salary is going to go up every year, okay, whether inflation adjusted or to improve my lifestyle, adjusted for inflation plus a little more, or every time I change my job and I've got that big booster of higher income, what people don't land up doing is upping their investment, but before that they start upping their expenses. Okay, and let me again flip back to a little couple of slides to show you what that power of that small little step up is going to be for investors. If you can bring back up the slideshow, what is a step up? Is a great, probably I think the most powerful but least spoken and least understood and undersold concept of an SIP is where you can tell someone that, hey, listen, this year, every of the 12 months, please deduct 10,000. But each year, please keep raising that amount by 1,000 rupees. So the next 12 months from 13 to 24, make it 11,000. From 25 to 36, make it 12,000. And to understand what that will accumulate, here's an example. You do a 25,000 rupees regular SIP per month, 3 lakhs a year, 15 years, you would have invested 45 lakhs. At 15% return outcome, it is 1.69 crores. But the guy says, hey, listen, my salary goes up and I need to invest a lot more in younger years rather than having a higher expenditure as an expense on my salary. Okay, ups his SIP by 5,000. Instead of 45 lakhs, invest 96 lakhs 60,000. Over that same period of time, has now accumulated almost double the investment amount by upping his investments per month annually only by 20%. Now, think of this way. A young investor comes to me and says, "Hey, listen, I'm 25 years of age. I can afford 25,000 a month. I want to buy a house when I'm probably 40. What do you think I should do?" I'll probably tell him, "Yeah, start an SIP of 25,000." Think he finished this journey in 1.7 crores in a city like Mumbai. He'll probably be able to afford a 1 BHK apartment in almost most parts of the city. But had there been a smart advisor to such a youngster, had he pushed him and nudged him and encouraged him to do that step up, this corpus of 3.18 crores will now allow him a two-bedroom apartment in most
Correct.
parts of the city of Mumbai. And therefore, I always give this and quote it: the difference between a one bedroom and a two bedroom is an SIP versus an SIP with a step up. Let me give you another example. Take a investor who comes and says, "Hey, listen, I want to accumulate about 50 lakhs of rupees in 15 years, but all I can afford is, because I just don't have higher income, is 5,000 rupees a month." Now, whatever stretch of imagination I take, 5,000 a month, which translates into 60,000 a year, in 15 years, 9 lakhs, even at a 15% return, will translate only into 33 lakhs of rupees for him. Now, the guy is dejected because no matter what I do, he cannot reach his goal of 50 lakhs. You see, case two, to reach 50 lakhs, I actually need to invest 7,500 rupees every month. But the guy says, "I don't have 7,500. What do I do?" The smarter solution is you begin with 5,000, you up it by 500 rupees every year, the monthly installment. You will still land up closer to that goal of 50 lakhs of rupees. I think the most undersold, less understood concept and powerful tool of an SIP is the step up. And that's the one thing that I'd like to profess and get people to, really participate in that journey of SIPs from our side.
Wonderful. In fact, Mr. Dastoor, we are receiving lot many questions from our audience today. In fact, I encourage them to ask questions because it's a special privilege that you can ask questions directly, and Mr. Dastoor will be very happy to answer. So, first question for you is from Anjali, and who says she's asking like, can we also do weekly SIPs? And what is the difference between monthly and weekly SIPs? And again, adding from my side, what is preferable if somebody is in a position to do weekly SIPs as well?
So, I will give you this classic case. Okay. It's like saying, "Oh, I'd like to run a marathon." Okay. Um, should I start by running 1 kilometer, or should I walk 3 kilometers? Should I up the steps from 10,000 a day to 12,000? I am telling you truly, if you want to run a marathon, stop debating and discussing. Get up in the morning and get out of your house.
Wow,
Okay.
absolutely.
If you wanted to swim, you can watch as much YouTube as you want. But if you don't get up from your house and go and dive into a swimming pool, you ain't swimming. Okay. Now, if you can flip back to the presentation, I'll now come to the point I'm trying to make. Investors endlessly keep debating this question: should I be doing an SIP on a weekly basis, monthly basis, daily basis? Okay. Let me just present some, data points to you on the presentation. It's a few slides away, but it's right here. Okay. What I've plotted over here is very simple. If you did a daily SIP of 1,000 rupees, a weekly SIP, or a monthly SIP, okay, and do remember, if I want to reach that same goal today, I mean, the market return is not going to change. But if I've said all three cases, whether it's daily, weekly, or monthly, I should invest the same amount of money, That amount of money is 64.72 lakhs. Over that journey of time, whether I did daily, weekly, or monthly, I still landed up with a corpus of 5.9, 5.94, or 5.96 crores, having invested the same amounts of money. The key moot point, Neeraj, is you have to get out of your house. You have to start walking, you have to progress to running, and then you will reach a stage of being able to sprint or being able to, at a good pace, complete that entire 21 or 42 kilometers. Okay. So, my guidance to investors is don't bother about daily, weekly, monthly. Let me give you another data point. So, on this screen, you are seeing if I did an SIP on the first of the month versus the second of the month versus the 28th day of the month. Look at the return differential over that reasonable period of time. It lies between 15.7 and 15.9%. That's all it is. So
Mhm.
you think that you are trying to do this big, avishkar or innovation by saying invest on the third day of the month and then the 22nd day of the month, or invest in the first week or the last week because the futures options, settlement date is always the last Thursday of the month. I think all of that, okay, will not add to anything meaningful. Doing an SIP, doing it diligently, stepping it up, and not allowing your discipline to waver for no matter what the reason is what creates wealth. Not the date, not the frequency. It's the participation that will make you wealthy.
Wonderful. In fact, there's an appreciation for you, UTI. UTI, Natasha Ali invested UTI small cap, and she's very happy for that. The next question is from Ramesh Kumar, who is asking, like, sir, after my appraisal, I think there's an increment that I'm going to get. That should I start a new SIP completely in a new fund, or I should step up? Which one do you advise?
So, very good. So, firstly, Ramesh, I think the great thing is that you are convinced that you need to invest for every increment that you are getting. Great. And my simple thumb rule to everybody is for whatever is your salary and you're able to invest, but for the increment that you earn, okay, a minimum of 50 to 60% of that incremental amount should go into investments, should not go into your lifestyle change. Okay. To the question Ramesh asked, if you are happy with the investment that you have made, you've got a fund house with a good pedigree. You've got a fund which is capturing the broad markets for you. There is no reason for you to keep diversifying into multiple SIPs. Do a step up over there itself. However, if you are one who has been doing this for a long period of time, if you've got, let's say, funds that are capturing the broad markets, but you'd like to play or invest more money in smaller sleeves, as an example, versus flexi cap funds, versus saying, oh, in a flexi cap fund, I get only 15 or 20% maximum exposure, not even that much in a small cap category. I'd like to invest over there. Then for that reason alone you would choose that sleeve and say, hey, listen, I have probably 40,000 rupees being invested in broad categories of funds. I have another 5,000 now. Instead of stepping it up, I'm choosing to invest this next 5,000 in a fresh SIP in this idea, which I think merits long term investments to happen. And for that reason alone, you should choose a different fund. Otherwise, if you're happy with the fund and the category, just stay put with the same one.
Correct. Now you talk about flexi cap funds. We have got different kind of funds: debt funds, equity funds, multi cap, flexi cap. So another very important concept for investors is a risk profiling. I need to really understand what is my risk tolerance and then accordingly choose my fund. So how do you think one should connect in the long term? Suppose I'm 25 years old. I want to invest it for next 20 years, 30 years. So what is ideal for me? Even what kind of fund should I go ahead with?
So, Neeraj, my always guidance to investors is that your first step, pehla kadam, okay,
Hmm.
has to always be with the broad market. Okay. When
Hmm.
you look at, a broad market indicator, let's take the Sensex or the Nifty, which most people associate with. It is a great representation of the largest companies in the economy. Okay. But it is not a representation of large, mid, and small stocks that operate in the economy. And therefore, my recommendation at the core of anyone's portfolio is please begin with a flexi cap or a large and mid cap as your core investment portfolio.
Right.
Okay. Keep building towards that because different capitalization segment of large, mid, and small will give you returns at different points of time. Okay. But it will be impossible for you to predict which one is going to do better at what point of time. So when you begin your journey and as you start maturing in that journey, you need to focus on broad markets. When
Hmm.
you become more and more exposed to those broad markets, so say I was doing an SIP of 25, 30, 40,000 rupees a month. I've been doing that for the last 5, 7 years. I've been doing it in flexi cap, large and mid cap, Nifty or Sensex funds. Now I want to do another 10,000 rupees and I'd like to focus on a different style of investing, which can be value versus growth versus quality. I can look at more specialized capitalization like small cap or mid cap. I can then consider sectoral funds or thematic funds that play very narrow themes in the marketplace, knowing fully well that this has to be the satellite to the core. Okay. You cannot make a sectoral fund your core. Unfortunately, we see a lot of investors that get introduced to SIPs come on the back of research of best performing fund. And a best performing fund invariably could be a sectoral fund. Because in a flat market like we saw in 2022, the best performing index could have actually been IT, could have been infrastructure, but that is not going to make that sector like automobiles
Yeah.
was an awesome outplay last year. But it does not mean that it's going to remain an outplay year after year after year. And therefore, best performing mutual fund is I would think, the biggest fallacy or the most foolish way to begin your investment journey. It has to start with a flexi cap category as a strategy. And just to close that point, if you can bring me back on my slides, I'll show you how this really has played out through previous years. So just take a look at this chart.
Hmm.
From 2012 to 2022, we have plotted out in each of the years, okay, in the 11 years, how many times small cap, large cap, and mid caps have been the best performers. 5 times it was small cap, thrice it was large cap, and thrice it was mid cap. Now, if somebody has to ask me, I want to invest for the next 11 years, 12 years, or 25 years, should I buy large cap, mid cap, or small cap? What do you think my answer would be? It's impossible to time it, right? To say, oh, 19 and 20 were the years of large cap, 21 and 22 were the years of small cap. So 23, 24 to most lame people will appear to be the years of mid cap just because they have not done the best in the last 4 years. But then what? How are you ever going to keep guessing this game going ahead? And that's where a broad market strategy like flexi cap, large and mid cap plays out best for investors.
Wonderful. Now, you spoke about core portfolio. You spoke about satellite portfolio. Now, coming a little bit technically, like how many, what should consist of my core portfolio, and how many SIPs, how many funds that should consist, and then satellite. You talked about satellite. Can you enlighten us a little bit more on satellite portfolio? What is their purpose? What is their objective? What kind of fund types that should be included in a satellite portfolio?
Sure. So, firstly, I don't think anyone should be thinking about satellite. till the
Hmm.
time that they've been able to reach a stage
Hmm.
where their monthly contributions, okay, are, meaningfully large, or the core corpus over a period of time has become meaningfully large, which means, oh, I started with an SIP of 25, 30,000 a month. Over the last journey of the last 8, 10 years, I've collected a corpus of 40 lakhs, 30 lakhs because of market appreciation and everything else that happened. Now I've got, another 50,000 to invest. I think banking and financial services as an industry is core to the economy, and therefore
Hmm.
I'd like to invest specific amount of money in that sleeve alone. I think India is a dominant play in the IT sector, and therefore I'd like to be a part specifically of that sector. That's the satellite strategy that one has to adopt after one has achieved some level of maturity in their portfolio. It cannot be your starting point, it cannot be in your second, third, or fourth year of your investment cycle, okay, that satellite portfolios start taking precedence over building a big corpus in your core portfolio. Okay. I think first of all, investors must remember that, SIP is not only equal to equity. SIP is a convenient way of investing your money on a regular basis. If you can do a fixed deposit every month, you can do an SIP in a debt mutual fund every month. That becomes a part of your core portfolio. And that's where I believe, uh, the the satellite part, okay, comes at a very later stage for an experienced, matured, and built up corpus portfolio rather than early stage investors.
Correct. Got a questions from Prasad, who asked like, so when there's a volatility in the market, in fact, should I pause my SIP, or should I stop doing it for the market to stabilize and recover so that I can start my SIP once again? So that actually this is what most of the people think. You will see that number of SIPs that has been stopped. In fact, I was just looking at the numbers. In the month of Feb, 20 lakhs new SIPs have started, and 14 lakhs people have stopped their SIPs because probably market is volatile, market is down, they're not feeling attracted towards the market. But what should be the ideal advice for them from your side?
So, my answer to Prasad and all investors is, you are not buying the market, first of all. You are buying the India story. Okay. And if you think India is going to be a great country for the next, or the next 3 decades are going to be about India, this transition that we have seen, it took us some almost 60 years or 65 years to reach a $1 trillion economy. But the last trillion in the journey to three and a half has happened in the last 6 years itself. Okay. You will be a 10 trillion economy very shortly. Now, if you think that it will happen evenly over every year, the answer is no, it's never going to happen that way. Okay. Can you tell me how much is it going to happen next year or this year? I cannot tell you that. But I can tell you that the demographics, the financial position of India is so strong that for the next 20 years will be a great growth story, and it will be foolhardy if you did not participate in that story. If that is the case, then my question to Prasad would be, you have a job, you're earning every month, you need to invest every month. You need to focus on your job such that your bonus and your increment increases. Stay focused there. What you need to do with your SIP is keep parking it away without thinking about saying, oh, my last three installments, 6, 12, or 18 installments, you know, didn't do well, and therefore I should pause. Because what the trigger will be for the next wave of the market to recognize the wave in the economy, when that trigger will come, neither does Prasad know, nor does Pesi Dastoor know, nor does Vetri Subramaniam, who is our CIO, know. Let me give you a past perspective. From the year 2009 to the year 2014, the market for 4 years remained flat. It was an environment of high inflation followed by high interest rates with a slowing economy, a lot of pain that we went through. So, Sensex, which hovered between 18 and 20,000, which was its peak in 2008, remained there for 4 years. But when 2014 came, if you tried catching it, you would always have been behind the curve. So, what we fail to recognize in an SIP is the power of accumulation. We always think of the power of rupee cost averaging. Let me explain the power of accumulation. People ask me, do you want the market to go up? I say, no, I don't want to. I don't want it to go up for the next 10 years. You know why? Because I'm 50 years of age. Ask me when I want the market to go up, when I'm ready for retirement. I want to accumulate for the next 9 years at the same level of the market. And in the 10th year, when I want to retire, I want the 9 years appreciation to come to me in the 10th year. I don't want to accumulate at a higher level. Of what good is it if the market became from 60,000 Sensex to 1,20,000 in the next 1 year, and for the next 8 years, it didn't give me any return? So there are phases in the market for an SIP investor to make return. There are phases in the market to accumulate your investments, units, and corpus. And that accumulation is when the return comes, creates that massive compounding and wealth creation for you. Okay. So the logic of an SIP is not to time the market. The purpose of an SIP is to invest, not just park your money that you earn every month. Okay. The very reason you do an SIP is so that you don't have to sit and keep timing the market. The outcome is wealth creation, but you want to invest when the market is low. Today, the market is not low, mind you. Okay. It is definitely still not low, but it's not giving you a return, which is making it cheaper and cheaper with every passing month. Buy it at this point of time. Be delighted the market is not going up. Why do you want a rich market? You want a rich market when you need the money. You don't want a rich market otherwise. And
Wonderful.
that's, I can give you only with my own example. When anybody asks me, what's your expectation for the market? I want it to be subdued for 9 out of the next 10 years. I want all the return in the 10th year. I want all my SIP installments to happen at those subdued levels.
Wow, wow, wonderful, wonderful. In fact, yes, absolutely. We got so many questions. In fact, we have got questions from Ramesh actually. He again thanking you, but he asked a little bit of technical question. What is the difference between flexi cap and multi cap?
Uh, so, a multi cap fund. So, SEBI is created product categories. Within equity umbrella, there are multiple categories of funds. A multi-cap fund has a predefined ratio of how much money should be in large cap, mid cap, and small cap. So SEBI has broadly defined those boundaries. A flexi cap fund, as per SEBI categorization, is a go anywhere fund. That is left to the discretion of the fund manager to decide whether I want to be 60% large cap or 80% small cap, depending upon the fund manager's view of the market. So flexi cap is go anywhere. Multi cap operates in large, mid, and small, but within the boundaries and framework that SEBI has defined.
Wonderful. Now, again, okay, this is a little bit on the motivational side. You have been associated with mutual fund industry for a long, long time. Uh, Now, what are the great wealth creation that you have seen in your examples? Can you give us some examples that you have come across, probably which has really we have seen in case of equity. We give examples of Wipro. how somebody invested 10,000 rupees, 1980, and how it became hundreds of crores of rupees. Something like, have you come across any kind of stories like that?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, there are so many people that have
Hmm.
actually benefited, but the pain that I have, no, okay,
Hmm.
is that a far greater number of people or multiplier of people have been exactly like Ramesh, that they initiated their journey,
Hmm.
okay, but didn't stay the course. And I'll go back to my starting point. It requires three things. One, a small sum of money, say 15,000,
Hmm.
huge amounts of patience, say 15 years, and a great amount of discipline, okay, to make wealth. You waver on any of these three, okay, wealth creation, Lakshmi is going to slip away from your hand. You stay the course with these three, Lakshmi will welcome you to her house. You don't have to welcome Lakshmi to your house. Okay. Let me give you again, if you can flip back to my slides, a very small example. Huh?
Hmm.
Okay. Very, very small example. Think of your housemaid. Okay. If you went to your housemaid or you went to your driver or you went to, your watchman and said, okay, do you have 5 lakhs of rupees to spare? In all probability, the answer will be no. But even if you went and told them, say, 5 years back, 8 years back, or 10 years back, would you have invested 1,000 rupees every month? The answer that they would say is yes, I had the money. I used to take it, I used to put it in the rice ka dabba, I used to give it to a neighbor, I used to put it in the bank. But
Hmm.
sorry, if you can flip back to the slide, I'll show you what the power of this wealth creation is for the smallest of people. Okay. Here, I know this is a small slide. I mean, it's very small print. I don't know how many people can see it, how clearly, but 1,000 rupee SIP
Hmm.
done by somebody starting 2014. Okay. And this is a live folio that I've taken out. Obviously, I've blanked out all the details of the investor. Okay. But this is a live folio of the common man who does.
Hmm.
And we are not talking to Paytm investors, are not the common Indian, or rather the common Bharatiya Purush. They are the common India. Okay.
Hmm.
They are the new India, the Paytm customers. But if someone had done 1,000 rupee SIP, and this is an exact investor's statement that I'm representing here, he's sitting with 5,40,000 rupees. This could well have been the maid working in your house, not yourself. Okay. And for someone who had multiplied that by 10, you'd be sitting with 53 lakhs of rupees for having done 10,000 rupees yourself. This is how wealth is created. This is a live case in point, Neeraj, in front of you.
I'm sure this is absolutely transformational. In fact, and these are the people who need the maximum help. You talk about the pan shop wala, you talk about, anybody who was a sabzi wala, they need the maximum help, in terms of at least getting their financial freedom or whatever we say. I think that's a wonderful example, sir. Thank you so much. In fact, the next question is from Mr. Ramakrishna. Is it a good idea to invest in high return investments?
Superb idea it is. Absolutely great idea it is. Equity as an asset class is a high return investment. SIP in itself is a low risk way of participating in equities, which is a high risk investment game. And therefore, why we profess, whether it's UTI or whether it's the mutual fund industry, why do we profess a SIP as a mechanism to invest is because, do remember, with high risk, Ramakrishna, comes high return, comes high risk. And when you talk about risk, it also comes with high volatility. How do you mitigate risk and volatility? You mitigate risk by staying invested for long periods of time. You mitigate volatility by investing every month. And that's why SIPs become a great way to invest in high return investment options such as equity.
Wonderful. I think we are almost coming to an end of this discussion today. Again, before closing it, what is your final words? Those who are already doing SIP, I'm sure most of the people who are attending today are probably people who are doing SIPs already or want to start it very soon. Okay, we got some more questions, but what is your advice to them?
I will come back to boringly the
Hmm.
same point that I started with. You know, I keep again repeatedly telling people, if your investment portfolio creates a lot of excitement in your life,
Hmm.
you're doing it wrong. Okay.
Hmm.
If your investment portfolio is boring,
Hmm.
you're doing it correct. And why should it be boring? Is because boringly you should, just blindfoldedly just say, I want to invest for this longer period of time. I've got a goal to retire. I've got a goal for big expenses related to my children's education, their marriage, getting them settled. And that journey is a long one. If that's a long journey, your investment journey has to be the same. And my guidance to people is, firstly, you cannot learn to swim sitting at home. You need to enter the swimming pool. Enter the swimming pool. Your goals are long term. Your needs are going to appear much later in life. Market volatility has never been in the control of anybody, and definitely it will not be in your control. Okay. All you have is yourself. You have a salary or a business income. You have the convenience to invest every day, week, or month. It doesn't matter. Large cap, small cap, mid cap, flexi cap, multi cap, doesn't matter. Get into the damn pool and start swimming to the best of your ability. That's the path to financial nirvana, is what I will give as my glass closing point.
I really appreciate when you talked about excitement. Most of the youngsters nowadays, I think in last 2 3 years, we have seen lots of people that look for excitement. Many people I ask like, why you want to trade in the market? Why you want to invest? I want excitement. There are so many places to go for excitement. You go for bungee jump down, adventure sports, go over there. But here, as you said, boring it is, good for your financial health. Stock market
Absolutely.
investment is not a place to look for excitement. And I'm sure with that, it's a great enlightening session for all of us, sir. Thank you so much, Mr. Pesi Dastoor. It's a wonderful talking to you, and great thanks to all our participants as well. With that, I'd like to close the session today. Thank you, everyone. Bye bye.
Thank you very much, Neeraj, and a very good evening and happy investing journey to all the listeners over here. Take care and all the best.
Thank you, sir.